Hi, I'm Ted Rita. I'm the director here at the Hesston Steam Museum, and we are just thrilled to, share with the world the completion of this replica of Peter Cooper's Tom Thumb. The evolution of this project was really amazing. We had one of our volunteers come to me. He was actually a potential volunteer last year, and we had a meeting together, and we really kind of bonded with kind of the vision that we think that this place should continue, and also that sharing of the STEM learning with especially the youth, with people, but especially the youth. And he turned out to be just a remarkable craftsman. In this 8-hour session we had, where we talked about museums and management of museums and what we do here at the Hesston Steam Museum, I shared with him a dream that I've had since I was a little kid, and it was to have a historically accurate representation of America's first steam locomotive. And it's really important to note that the Hesston Steam Museum isn't a railroad museum. We're a museum of steam-powered equipment, and the Tom Thumb is probably the most iconic piece of steam-powered equipment. It just coincidentally is a train. This is what really kicked it off on this continent. This use of this vapor that can do work for us. There were some steam engines in existence when Peter Cooper moved to create this piece, but it wasn't very prevalent. So we're talking about the 1829 time frame. And there were some stationary steam engines that were used in factories. And I think our research showed that Peter Cooper actually used one of his existing steam engines to put on this, on the original. So for us, it's not just a locomotive. It is really that iconic start of really practical use of this vapor known as steam. And so we display all kinds of things here. We have a sawmill, we have a stationary generating plant, we've got steam tractors, which really are the unsung hero of Americana and the world. People know about the locomotive, but steam tractors are something that kind of eludes most historians, and they were so important. So we've got all these different aspects, but this one really captures the imagination, I think, of our guests, because it is a train, but it's such an odd early train locomotive that it just transcends just the typical locomotive. So, as I said, our new volunteer, by the time he got back home, he called me and he said, Ted, I think I've got to talk to my wife, but I think I'd like to take a shot at building the Tom Thumb. And I'm so happy he did, because little did I know how great of a craftsman he was. Mr. Rick Weber, he built everything and funded this project for the museum, and it really turned out wonderfully. In developing this, and our education committee really dove into the history of not only the Tom Thumb, but of Peter Cooper himself. We want to learn kind of what made the man tick and who he was and everything. And he turned out to be just this amazing individual that had this incredible life. And when you read through the innovations that he he has to his name, it's really hard to believe that it was one lifetime. He was just such a remarkable man, and he actually founded a educational institution called the Cooper Union in New York City, and it was built in one of the first metal buildings. I think it was cast iron and steel, but iron and steel building in New York, and it housed free education for all that could get into the school. So there was, you had to apply and show that you were, at some standard but it was for everybody. Didn't matter what race, creed, gender you were. It was free education because he really believed in that. And I know that it's still free today in New York City. It's incredible that it's still functioning as it was first intended to when Peter Cooper chartered it. So he just turned out to be this amazing man that turned out to be our heroes. We have always known about Peter Cooper and the Tom Thumb, but we just didn't know Peter Cooper. So to visit or donate to the Hesston Steam Museum, just go to hesston.org. That's HESSTON.org. And then you can find a map, or you can find all the information to visit, but also there's a donation button down at the bottom. You can donate via PayPal, or you can donate through our link directly. But we appreciate everybody's support. We're excited about the Tom Thumb. We can't wait to share it with our guests, and I hope to see you here at the Hesston Steam Museum.